Let me tell you a story of heroes. Of 4 that came, 4 that fell. And of the heroes that took their place.
Okay, the last time I saw this fella, he's the reason I died as a villain. David, I blame you totally for my crappy defeat by the heroes.
There is a little bit of skill involved, I will say. So, oh wait, did I say that? No.
You were the one guiding me.
I was the one guiding you. I take full credit, or blame. So yeah, we're welcoming you back to Fable Legends here. The big thing that we showed you earlier is this new game concept of playing 4 different heroes against our villain player. It's a game that combines kind of PvE elements and PvP elements, so you can choose to play single player or multiplayer here in Fable Legends. Take on the role of a hero, or be the cunning villain that destroys the heroes. Which one are you going to be?
I love you putting the voice there. I feel like you're going to do that. No, it's fantastic. I'm going to see, again, day 4 Gamescom, I'm going to find you and see whether that cackle's still there.
See if I still have that evil villain laugh to be had. They don't let me do voice work in the game, so I have to do it here. As you know, Fable's been a British studio, for a long time, so our audio team won't let me do voices except for like creature noises like because apparently Americans are allowed to grunt and die, but they can't voice any of the cool characters in the game, so that's the only thing I get to do.
Was that in the contract when you signed up the Lionhead?
No, but it should have been. It should have been. Now, we do a variety of English accents, and every one of the heroes has a different English accent. Actually, one of the funnier parts of my job for that is that they'll come up with a new idea for a hero, and they're like, okay, this is the idea we want to do with this hero, and this is the kind of English accent it's going to have. And I'm like, what does scouse mean? What does that sound like? And so they'll send me like YouTube videos of people talking with that accent. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. And they're like, yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, fine. Good, ship it.
So you've absorbed all this god-awful British TV drama and comedy.
Yep.
I'm very sorry, sir.
Yeah, I don't understand your humor, but I think it's funny, and the audience loves it. That's the funny thing is, over half of the audience of Fable historically has been Americans, which really makes me scratch my head because I have never understood British humor all the time, but I have a whole team of writers that their job is to make funny stuff up and tell me that it's funny, and I nod slowly. Yeah, exactly. That sounds hysterical.
Following off that then, when you guys are designing the heroes, does the voice come first and then you build the hero around that?
Almost at the same time, right? We tell jokes in the office and we come up with concepts of heroes. Usually it comes with the gem of a concept. Our newest hero, Glory, she came up with this concept of what if, and ironically there's a film about this now, what if there was an evil queen that wanted to rule the kingdom, but let's dial her back because we're in this early age of heroes. And she's still really young and she's still kind of a little bit heroic. But she still likes power, she's really ambitious, and she's got magic apples and a magic mirror. What kind of cool stuff could we do with that character, and what kind of accent should she have? So.
Well, with that in mind then, is it a case of you guys are looking at maybe particular fantasy tropes and wondering how to subvert it to your own particular Fable needs?
That's exactly what we're doing, right? So we look at fantasy stories, whether it's Grimm's fairy tales or popular stories that you and I grew up with, and how do we take a different spin on this, right? Sterling, the character we showed off at E3, is literally our Prince Charming. But if you know, Prince Charming seemed to find a lot of random princesses from time to time, and in different stories, he was with a lot of different princesses. So we had to explain that. We felt that our spin on that was to bring him into Fable, and that was appropriate anyway, because in previous Fable games, sleeping around, if you will, was just part of the game.
This could segue into the whole STD thing, but I don't think that's his particular place for it.
Well, you'd laugh, but previous Fable games have had them. So, yeah. Now, we sometimes tastefully fade to black, but, there can be consequences to your actions in video games, including that one.
I love that. Informational right here. This is informational stuff right here. Now, got the heroes, but talking about the villain. Now, like I said, I played as the villain just after E3 with you guys. Now, one of the interesting things I thought was you guys, let me just run through this again, you correct me if I'm wrong. You can customize arenas prior to heroes coming into it, but you can also save those and almost have save stacks that you can play out almost like decks of cards.
Exactly. That's exactly how we think about it sometimes. I used to play Magic the Gathering, and you have a lot of fun playing a game of Magic, but then half the fun is by, like preparing for a game. So you go home and you tweak your deck and you take this in and you take this out. That kind of metagame of the game, so to speak, is exactly what we're talking about for the villain. So he divides up his kind of gameplay into strategy and tactics. The tactics is when he's controlling his creatures, choosing their special abilities, setting up ambushes and executing them. The kind of strategy phase is which creatures am I going to use, how do I want to combine them, where do I want to place them? Do I want to use this trap here or this standing stone magic object that I can use? Setting all of those combinations up and making a plan so that you can take down the heroes. That's what the villain can do in both of those stages.
Now, with the location that you guys are showing off here today, is this the same location as the E3 build? Or?
It is pretty much the same location. It's still like the first half of Quest 11 in the overall story arc of the campaign. We do have some new stuff in here. We've done some things to keep improving the game, of course, back home. Our ogre has been upgraded. He has more special abilities. So if you try your hand as the villain and you're controlling that ogre, you'll find him a little bit full more of pack and punch. He spits and farts more often, and in Fable, that's really power for you.
As we all do when we get older in life.
Yeah, he's a big old man at this point, I guess. So yeah, and we've also got a variety, the creatures that we're putting into the game now back at home are just more things. So we're building things back home of like Balverines and wolves and all these cool stuff, classic Fable stuff that we'll be adding in later.
So when you're building stuff back home and you guys are over here, you're getting it easy, right? Everyone's working back home, you're here just enjoying the response, enjoying the atmosphere?
Yeah, pretty much. No, I mean, I do enjoy conventions once in a while. Sometimes it can become too much, but it's really fun to put the game in front of people who haven't played it before, get their feedback. And, it's a weird game that we're building, right? I'll be honest with you, right? I mean, a lot of our fans are like, what? How much Fable is this and how different is this? And that's a fair question. It's a different, weird game. We aren't an exact copy of A or B or C. We're trying to do new stuff, right? So it's really the best part of the convention is showing it to a new player, and overwhelmingly, like 90% of our players go, I didn't know what this is, I was a little suspicious about it, wasn't sure what it was going to be. I still don't know what exactly to call it, for what genre it is, and they have a stupid acronym back home that I hate. MOCA. Multiplayer Online Quest Adventure, and I'm never going to say that again. Anyway.
We're going to make that official. MOCA, Fable Legends, the first in a new genre.
Acronyms are stupid. If the game is great, who cares what the genre it is? But yeah, when people get their hands on, they may not still know what to call it, and it is different, and that's okay. They enjoy it, right? They're like, I don't know what to call it, but when the beta starts, when the game releases, I want to play more of it.
Well, let's talk about that beta. What are people in for? Can you talk a little bit about it?
I can talk a little bit about it. So the first thing to know is that our first round of invites will go out on October 16th. If you haven't signed up yet, visit FableLegends.com to do that as soon as you can. Now, that is going to be a real beta. It's not a marketing event. It's not a demo, so see the whole game. We're still midway, not even quite, through the production cycle of the game. So what that means is what you're going to be invited into is an early stage of the game. We're going to start small with just a couple thousand, and then we're going to keep inviting more thousands of players every month or so. And so you may not get in the first round, but keep checking your inbox and keep checking your thing. And if you do get into that beta, though, what you're going to see is a game that's really fun, but you're also going to be invited to see parts of the game, if you want, that are not finished. So we're going to show off some levels that are just white boxes or only halfway arted. We'll show some pretty stuff, too, so you can know where it's going to look like eventually. But by letting you see unfinished characters, some creatures that aren't completely done yet, levels that aren't completely done yet, we can actually get your feedback at a point where we can make changes, right? When a level is completely done, as the level we're showing off here today is, changes are big and expensive, right? And honestly, we'll resist them if we can. Little tweaks, sure, but like, oh, we should take this entire area and remove it, that's a big, expensive thing. While inviting beta test users into an earlier stage, so that they can play the game for several months of this beta, give us honest feedback, and let us adjust things with them, it actually means their feedback is valuable. They're not just network testing, right? These people are going to be giving us feedback on the game that is actionable, and we can make adjustments to make the game fun and balanced.
You think this is vitally important for games to do now, given that production values are increasing so much? You guys almost, and whilst there's obviously a post-launch sort of rollout of DLC and tweaks, it's important to get that right first time, and this is essential for you guys now.
It is. It's totally essential. This beta testing process for us, not just because it's an online game and it has multiplayer elements, but because of the wacky new stuff we're trying here with every hero being unique and asymmetrical gameplay, That's hard to balance, right? We've signed up for one of the hardest to balance things you could do, right? We've got competitive multiplayer elements and cooperative multiplayer elements. Combining all of these is going to take a lot of work, right? And it's going to take a lot of tuning and balance. We need all the telemetry to make sure that the numbers are right, but on top of that, we want to make sure that every character feels really fun and different, right? And that we can only do by user feedback.
Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon.
I hope so. Thanks very much for your time.
Who will save Albion now?